Hey, it's Chris Miles. Today's episode from New on Music Row got a lot of stuff going on. We've got a ton of California country, and I know you're looking at me like, huh? But more importantly, I'm featuring an artist who's originally from Okinawa, Japan. All on today's episode of New on Music Row, coming up in just a little bit, right here on the Rise Network. Hey, it's Chris Miles. Welcome to this week's episode of New on Music Row. I've got so much stuff going on, as you heard in the promo. It's going to be a jam-packed show, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. So let's get right into business, shall we? We're going over the picks from last week. How did we end up? Hardy's bottom land, well, it didn't land on the bottom, that's for sure. 750,000 streams in its first week alone, and I think that's just more so because of people who know who Hardy is, and because he's got a decent songwriting background. He's written some songs you probably didn't know he wrote, but we talked about that in the last episode. And anyway, so at 750,000 streams for the week, that's pretty good. Moving on, the next song, Live Without by Kobe Calais, featuring the Wonder Twins of Maddie and Tay. Where we ended up with that? 200,000 streams. Not too bad. By the way, that's one of the artists that are from California. In the promo, I've got to make sure I get that tag in. Otherwise, I don't get my money. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so that's the second one. And then my favorite band, Old Dominion, making good time, and they definitely are. Now, the song itself has over 5.5 million streams, but that's because the song's been out for some time. Like I said, some of these songs that are on the list are on there because they're being released to radio, not necessarily because that's the day they're being released. Some of these, that's the way that it works. They get released and then they go right to radio. Some of them get released and then, a couple weeks later, they finally decide to release it to radio. So last week it did 1.5 million streams, so you kind of get the idea there. But a great song from them if you haven't heard it yet. It's absolutely amazing, and they did it live at Smokeout here in Chicago. Oh my God, it's even better live. So you definitely got to check that out. Moving on, we have Due West, Don't Let the Gray Hair Fool Ya. I did that more so because of my gray hair, but they did it because of their gray hair. So, but 22,000 streams, kind of where I expected it would be. Like I said, these guys need a little bit more love in the industry. You can kind of compare them to, Rascal Flatts, and they have that 90s country sound, that 90s trio country sound. But I think if you give them a listen, I think you're going to really enjoy them. Then we had Colt Ford with Dirty. 40,000 streams, and it kind of about where I thought it was going to fall. I actually thought maybe it was going to do about 60,000 streams, but it came a little short there. But Colt Ford, he's one of those individuals that you either like him or you don't like him. And if you're in outlaw country, I think you should check him out because he's more of an outlaw kind of. I'd put him in the outlaw country category just because of some of the stuff he does and the sound he has and things of that nature as well. And then last but not least, I gave you an extra one, because I actually featured this girl as the Rising Star Spotlight for the week. The Ow in Cowboy. I think last week I said O in Cowboy. It's actually Ow in Cowboy. So I'm correcting that now. 1,000 streams, but the gal's from Australia, so, I don't think she's got much mainstream listening out here. I think most of these are from the people back home, the Aussies, shall we say. But take a listen to it. I think you're going to like it. She was also featured in last week's Rising Star Spotlight. And some other great songs from hers. Take Me Back to Texas. Take a listen to that one. And then Being With My Baby, I think that's a fun one, like one of those gal-type songs, where, I spent the night with my boyfriend, and we had so much fun. We went out and we did this, and it's kind of like one of those songs. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. The gals will like it. You can do like a gals' night thing. Girls' dinner, you could play it in the background for that. But anyway, I digress. Moving on, the 5 picks of the week. This, starting off, is the gentleman who was born in Okinawa, Japan. And if you're a fan of the Karate Kid movies, then you've heard of Okinawa, Japan, because that's where Mr. Miyagi was from. So, but anyway, this guy is Zach Bryan. I don't think he needs much of an introduction. Most people know who he is. But he's got Kings of Leon featured in the song as well. The song is called Bowery. It is one of the 5 picks of the week. If you don't know who Zac Brown is, then you probably have not been in country music, listening to country music in the last like 3 or 4 years. Something in the Orange was a huge hit for him, like just bursted him onto the scene. Although he had a couple other albums out at the time. He did a couple of his own solo release albums, and that's when he signed his contract, and Something in the Orange just blew up. I remember when I think we played that song. Let's see. If I remember correctly, one of my radio like slots I was on in the afternoon from like 2 to 7. I think I played that song like 4 times within the 5 hours that I was on once because it was just so popular and such high demand. I Remember Everything from also from Zac Bryan. That features Casey Musgrave. That's another huge hit for him as well. Check out Pink Skies and Heading South. Those are some great songs from him if you haven't heard of Zac Bryan. But he is on the 5 picks of the week. Moving on, we've got Gavin Adcock. I know I keep talking about this guy, but you know what? He's got that. There's just something about him that I think he's just so relatable. And Turn Down the Lights is his new one this week. Again, such a relatable song. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. He's, of course, from Watkinsville, Georgia, former Georgia Southern University football player. And he also wanted to be a professional bull rider at one point as well. He's got an album coming out, Own Worst Enemy. It releases next week, actually, August 15th. So check that out. There's a bunch of new songs on there as well. Need to Have a Cigarette. That's one of his songs. 4-Leaf Clover, Morning Bail, If I Can't Have You, and then Never Call Again. Some great songs to check out from him. So 2 down. Let's get on to the 3rd pick of the week. Making her way back into the country spotlight, Gabby Barrett with The Easy Part. She's, of course, from Nashville, Tennessee. She took a little bit of a break, got married, and, had a couple of kids and things of that nature. And now she's back on the scene. The Easy Part, it's a great song. Check it out today. It's out. I think you're going to love it. If you love Gabby Barrett, then this is pretty much what you'd expect from her. So it's another one of those great, like, country pop kind of songs that it's going to pick up and it's going to roll. I remember Pick Me Up was one of the songs of hers that we used to play over and over and over again when I was in country radio. It's just because it's a great song. A song from her that I thought was going to do a little bit better but didn't, Glory Days. Check that out. That's a great song as well. And then As for Me and My Home is another great song from her. That's with Brandon Lake. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. Also, you probably know her from I Hope, and one of the good ones, which I think was like one of the most requested songs back in the day. Like if you did like hey, send a song out to your favorite person, your lover or whatever. Like, one of those kind of things. But Gabby Barrett making the list this week. The Easy Part, check that out. I think you're going to like it. Moving on, Tyler Rich, not so well known. He's from Yuba City, California, and he's got a song out this week called Lost Time. I think you're going to like that as well. If you don't know him, give him a listen, and then listen to some of his other stuff as well. The Difference, that's a great song from him. Better Than You Used To, that is one of my favorite songs, and that's the song that was on repeat this week. I know you guys like to know what song's on repeat this week. That's one, and I've got another one. We'll share that in a little bit. And then All the Small Things, not a cover of a Blink-182 song, so check that out because I think you're going to enjoy that song as well. And then a song called When, ? Which is mind-blowing in and of itself, so make sure you check that out. Tyler Rich's new song this week, Lost Time. It is also part of the top 5 or the 5 picks this week. Last but not least, Annie Bosco. She's got a song called Tequila Time. She is from Thousand Oaks, California, and she is also the Rising Star Spotlight, or the Rising Star that we're featuring in the Spotlight, I should say, this week. So we'll talk more about her in just a little bit, but check out her new song, Tequila Time. I think you're going to like it, especially if you like 90s country and if you also like Casey Musgraves. I think she's got a little bit of Casey Musgraves in her delivery and in some of her songwriting and things of that nature as well. So the 5 picks for the week, taking a look at them again. Bowery, Zac Bryan featuring Kings of Leon. Kings of Leon, like a rock band. So kind of an interesting twist there. It's a great song. I think you're going to enjoy that. Gavin Adcock's Turn Down the Lights. Gabby Barrett with The Easy Part, and I think that's going to be the easy breezy song this week. I think it's going to do awesome. Lost Time from Tyler Rich, and then last but not least, Tequila Time from Annie Bosco. So those are your 5 picks of the week. And moving on right into the Rising Star Spotlight. Why is Annie Bosco on the Rising Star Spotlight this week? Well, like I said previously, if you're into 90s country or if you're into Casey Musgraves at all, you're going to love her because of the way because of her sound. She's got that 90s gal country sound. She's got a little bit of Casey Musgraves in her songwriting and in her singing style as well. So I really think that you need to check her out. She's been in a couple of different festivals. She was at CMA Fest a couple of years ago and just blew up the scene there with her debut song, which was called Neon Baby. Check that out. She's got a couple of also duets. She does one with Joe Nichols called Better Than You. That song is absolutely amazing. That's the other song that's been on repeat this week, by the way. Also from Annie, What Did I Do? Heartburn, which features Dwight Yoakam. That's a really great slow song, and Dwight and her have some great harmonies together, and just their sound in general. It's absolutely amazing, and I think you're going to fall in love with Heartburn. And last but not least, California Cowgirl. She's also got another song out with Vince Gill as well. I was listening to that in the car on the way here, and oh, man, I got chills just thinking about her right now. It's such a great song, and she's got such a great sound. Now, she's toured with Tim McGraw, Dierks Bentley, Blake Shelton. She's done background vocals for Darius Rucker and Adele. She's written songs for Willie Nelson as well, so you know that she's got a lot of star power in her corner, helping her out with things, and we just need to get her. We need to give her that push and get her over the platform and up on the plateau, and it just... I can't say there's too many things to say about her, and not enough time in the episode to talk about her. She made her Grand Ole Opry debut on September 30th, 2023. So, like, she's still young and fresh in the industry, still kind of making her way through things. And I really think that once you take a listen to her, you're going to fall in love with her. Now, at age 14, she had a dream of becoming a professional singer, and it became possible. She was tapped to sing on the soundtrack for Disney's Little Mermaid 2. So if you've heard the soundtrack for that, she's been on the vocals for that as well. And then she wrote some songs, and then by the age of 17, she was opening for Dina Carter, performing her original music with her own band as well. So she's got some great country relationships, some country artist relationships in her corner that are all rooting for and for great reasons. I mean, if you haven't listened to Tequila Time yet, because it was part of the 5 picks for the week, make sure you do. I think that's a song that's making you go, yeah, you know what? She's got it, and she's going to do well. So Annie Bosco is the Rising Star Spotlight for the week. Again, check her out. Like I said, she's just got a great sound. If you like 90s country and if you're into Casey Musgraves at all, her songwriting style and whatnot, I think you're really going to enjoy her. And you're probably going to be like, oh, yeah, you know what? That was a good Rising Star Spotlight for the week. So thank you. I'll bow right now. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, moving on. Let's take a look at country music history and country music birthdays. On this date in 1976, which, of course, is August 8th, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Born in a little town of Cleveland, Texas, or Cleveland, Tennessee, rather. Did you know there was a Cleveland, Tennessee? Yeah, I didn't either until today. Mark Wills, you know him? I'm sure you do. He had that #1 country hit, Wish You Were Here. Also, my favorite song from him is 19-something. That's the one where he kind of goes back and he talks about like when he was born, and then he had the Stretch Armstrong doll and all kinds. It's just, oh my God. If you are a kid that grew up in like the 60s and the 70s and you haven't heard 19-something from Mark Wills, take a listen to it, because I think you're going to fall in love with it, and it's just going to be amazing. He also I Will, I Do, I Try, I think is another song. That's a cover from the cover that he did as well. But Mark he had a phenomenal career in the 90s, and it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Mark. Moving on into the history of country music. 2008, we're not going too far back, but the movie Beer for My Horses was released. Did you know that was a movie? Yeah. Toby Keith, it's, of course, based on the song that he wrote. The film was co-written by Keith and Rodney Carrington, and also, of course, featured Willie Nelson, because you can't do a song with Willie Nelson called Beer for My Horses and then make a movie about it and then not have Willie Nelson in it. Rumor is that there wasn't beer for the horses when Willie was on them. There was something else, but I digress. So, moving on. 2013, what happened in country music history? Well, President Barack Obama announced that Loretta Lynn would be awarded the Presidential Medallion of Freedom, or Medal of Freedom, right? He said that Loretta Lynn is a country music legend. And of course, she was raised in rural Kentucky. Went on to say that he, meaning Barack Obama, went on to say she emerged as one of the first successful female country music vocalists in the early 60s, courageously breaking barriers in an industry long dominated by men. So, I mean, apropos, not really apropos, appropriately, that's the word I was looking for, given the Medal of Freedom because of her work in country music, the groundbreaking work in country music. And it's part of the Kennedy. She also had the Kennedy Center Honors in 2003. And she's also had a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, which she received in 2010. So moving on for country music history. Not too far back. We're going to 2023 now. There's a dude by the name of Oliver Anthony. You remember him? Yeah. He wrote a song called Rich Men North of Richmond. Independently, of course, released it. It debuted atop Billboard's Hot 100, and it made him the first artist to achieve this without any prior charting history in any form. The song is also the first by a solo male artist to reach #1 on the Hot 100 and the Hot Country Singles simultaneously in its debut week. I remember when the song came out, and I listened to the song, and I was like, we're going to play this song? I was like, wow. Now, we had the unedited version, or if you, like, when you look stream music on like Spotify or even Apple, it's got the little E next to it for explicit lyrics. So that was the version that they gave us at first when we were at the radio. And I was like, what are we going to do with this? Because it's not radio friendly. So we went in and we did some edits and stuff like that, took out some of the swear words and stuff. And then literally, like, I think 3 hours after we did that and had the song ready to be played on air, we got the radio release from, the company we get our releases from. They were like, sorry, we sent you the wrong one. Hopefully you haven't aired this yet. That was like, whoops. Because, I mean, if you know anything about the radio industry, when the music comes in, sometimes it just automatically downloads into the catalog. And if you're a programmer and you've set up your music, and that was one of the ones that you were like, oh, yeah, you want to play this right away, and you wanted to be the first station that played it, and you received the explicit lyric version, oh, whoops. That would not have been cool. Yeah, but anyway, so that's a look at country music history, and, of course, the country music birthday for today, August the 8th. But again, happy birthday, Mark Wills, 19-something. Check that song out. I think you're going to love it. All right, moving on to the weekly pick. This is the artist or band or group or song or something in the country music industry that I feel needs a little more love. And there's a song out there called Hater's Dream. It's by a gal named Savannah Rose. And I've been watching this song for the last couple of weeks now. And yeah, we need to give this song a lot more love. And, some of her other music from her catalog as well. I'm telling you, this gal is a powerhouse. Check her out. Listen to her songs. And I mean, you're gonna fall in love with her. I know I keep saying that, but she's just got such a strong, powerful voice, kind of like a young Trisha Yearwood vibe. And it's so commanding. You're gonna fall in love with her. And there's some other songs I think you're going to like from her. Dead End Street, that's a great song from hers. Just in Time, Dust Settles, Typical Texas Girl. Take a listen to that song. It's absolutely phenomenal. This gal is is a powerhouse because she's got the branding side down. So she knows how to brand herself, right? And she's got a ton of songwriting prowess and a ton of like behind the scenes stuff going on for her. I mean, she was inspired by an Evanescence concert in 2009. So we're talking about Amy Lee. Talk about powerhouse voices in like the rock and roll genre. Oh man, wow. Like Bring Me to Life. Remember that song? Yeah. That song's featured in like a bunch of movies as well, too. It's such an amazing song for Evanescence. And think about that, like how that going to an Evanescence concert and then like coming out of that and being like, hey, I want to get into like the music industry and I want to write country music. I mean, that's just so cool. It's such a cool story. And then, of course, at the age of 11, she was enrolled in a vocal guitar lessons that was from a Grammy-nominated artist as well. And like I said, she's got the brand ambassadoring going on, or ambassadorships going on. Boot Barn, Country Outfitters, Seaforce Water by Chuck Norris, Miranda Lambert's clothing line. Elixir strings, Gator cases. Gator cases are amazing, by the way. If you've ever worked in the industry, I think you're welcome, Gator. That was free. Anyway, and then she's over for Jackson Aldean, Jason Aldean. He should name his son Jackson. That'd be cool, Jackson Aldean. Anyway, and then John Party as well. Like I said, Savannah Ray, she needs some love. She's out of San Antonio, Texas, and she's got that amazing songwriting skills. She reminds me of a young Trisha Yearwood with her power and her delivery. She's in love with the boy. That's kind of one of the songs that when I was listening to some of Savannah's stuff, I was like, oh, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like She's in Love with the Boy. So check out Savannah Ray. She is the pick of the week. She's a powerhouse, and she's going to be going somewhere, and you're going to want to be the person that's going to be like, you know what, I remember when she was featured on Chris Miles' show, new on Music Row. So check her out. It's going to be absolutely great, and you're going to love her. I mean, what more can I say? Inspired by an Evanescence concert. And if you know Evanescence and you know that, Amy Lee, you know that she's a powerhouse in and of herself. So, and as they say, it takes a powerhouse to inspire a powerhouse. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate everything that you do, the likes, the comments, the subscribes, all the stuff that you guys do for me. So much appreciated. And of course, you can only catch this show, the vodcast, as I like to call it, right here on the Rise Network. We'll see you next week. Until then, you guys have an awesome night.